Welcome to the Working Women's Channel. My name is Clara Capano, and we're going to share the real secrets to success. Come on in. Tami, it's so good to see you. I'm just honored to have you here with me, and I can't wait to have our viewers get to know you even better.
No, thank you, Clara. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, so you and I have known each other. You know, we've worked together, we've been accountability partners, and I have learned so much from you over the years. And you are just, you know, you bring so much as far as just energy, happiness, excitement, and so many powerful stories of success. So I know we're going to have a lot to talk about today.
Yes. Well, and we have known each other for a long time, and you bring the same energy back to me, so thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're talking about success, especially when it comes to being a woman in business. And we know that this road to success is not always paved with beauty, and that many times there are bumps in the road, sometimes big boulders in the road. I know a couple of years ago, you had one of those big boulders come up in your life. And I would love, if you're open to it, to share with our viewers and kind of talk about the struggles that you had and how you kept showing up.
Well, you know, Claire, it's interesting because for years before my big bump came along, I would travel all over the United States to go to real estate conferences, and some I would teach at, and some I'd be a participant. And I heard this several times from speakers that you've got to have something dramatic and tragic happen to you in your life before you can become super successful. And I thought, well, that's crazy. Why would you have to have that? You know, and I had a perfect life, I had a perfect marriage, I had a perfect real estate career. And then June 2013, everything kind of came to a halt. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, my fabulous husband at the time was in a horse accident. And the horse started bucking and fell down and rolled over Richard. And the horse got up and Rich didn't. And we spent 4.5 weeks at MCR. This was June, busiest time of my year. Mm-hmm. And I left the work, everyone took over. And Rich had to learn how to walk, talk, eat, all over again. And he was left with what's called a traumatic brain injury. And I don't know if you've ever been around somebody with that, but they totally change. And it was really pure hell, like I'd never ever experienced. And up until that time, I had never had a disaster. Mm-hmm. I lost friends or family, but I'd never had anything that traumatic.
Right.
And to say it was hard is such an understatement, because even after we brought him home for 6 months, he had to have 24/7. And I did go back to work after those 4.5 weeks, and I had a fabulous team. I mean, they just kicked in. We still had a fabulous year. Mm-hmm. And clients and customers, they were so understanding. And going back to real estate during that whole time was actually like my relief.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Your escape to
get
out of the day-to-day.
Yeah. And because I had systems and procedures and checklists for everything that goes on in my business, mm-hmm. Ninja.
Definitely helped you.
It definitely helped me. Mm-hmm. And yet, that was so hard. And for the next 2 or 3 years, I'm Tami Spaulding. I fix everything. So I was going to fix him. I was going to heal him.
Right.
And we did every potential treatment, recovery we could. And I couldn't do it, Clara. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't do something. And unfortunately, because he had changed so much that after 30 years of marriage, it ended a 1.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing has been hard.
Right.
And yet you put your blue jeans back on, you pull up your bootstraps, and you take your career back and go mm-hmm. with it.
Yeah. So it's easy to say you've got to put on your boots and you got to still show up. Mm-hmm. But saying that and doing that are two different things. So how did you continue to show up?
So I think, Claire, it's all part of our makeup, right? Mm-hmm. It's all part of who we are inside. And I never was a quitter. I never ever have been somebody who will just say, I can't do this. And I've always bring me a challenge and I take it. Mm-hmm. So, and I feel that in those first couple years, I was really kind of in a trance, honestly. And so it was natural just to go back to work every day.
Okay.
But it actually became harder as it went on to then continue, because I realized I was going down a road I couldn't fix this problem anymore, mm-hmm. which I knew I could for so long, that it actually became harder after a couple years.
Mm-hmm. Now, has anything changed in how you show up in your business since that time?
Oh, that's a good one. Yes. I'm a high D personality. with I in there too. But as a high D, I'm very driven, I'm very direct, and I have learned empathy way more than I ever knew. I am more aware when I'm working with my clients, if they're going through hurt, if they're going through divorce, if they're going through loss, I get it here more than I ever did before. And I think that's huge because, I always cared about my clients and always, wanted to take care of them, but not this way. Because I get it now. I understand that there's a deep hurt there that a lot of people don't understand unless you've been through it.
Yeah. And I think that's also part of being, many times a woman in business is being able to connect on that deeper level. And I can appreciate what you say so much because I've been in the same position where many times when I was managing, I was so task oriented and I loved it. I loved checking off my boxes, but I wasn't connecting on that human level. And so being able to learn that and get that emotional intelligence can be a game changer on many levels.
Right. I'm really sad it took that to do it.
Sure.
But at the same time, I've changed in that respect.
So great. Now let's talk about your business because you have a phenomenal real estate business. For our viewers who don't know you or if they're in other industries, you are at the top of your game. You have been doing this for many years and you are known around the United States and even globally for the success that you've had. Can you tell us about some of the things that you've done? You've mentioned having schedules and doing those, but what are some of the business practices that we can learn from you that could carry into even other industries?
Well, I think first of all, you have to have a business plan. You need to know your goals and where you're headed. You need to have processes. You need to come from the heart and be human. You need to build rapport with your clients, no matter who they are. And the clients that you're working with need to know and feel that they're the only ones you have at that point in time, even if you're working with several. You need to always have the heart of a teacher, and you need to never have a dollar sign in your eye.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big one.
And we talk about that in Ninja because, again, we're both ninjas and we talk about coming from a place of serving, not selling.
Right.
And really making sure because they do feel that.
Oh, they do. And you have to come from abundance with everything in your life. You can't live in any kind of scarcity. And when you come from that abundance, they feel that too. And I just always, when I walk into a home and meet somebody new or they come to my office and meet them new, I want them to feel really like, wow, she's welcoming, she's pleasant, she's fun to be with, and I want that whole emotions to come across. And that also I'm going to take very good care of them. And I think if your clients feel that and you give them the red carpet treatment, and you'll just have them back for years and years and referrals like crazy.
Definitely. Now, I want to ask a question about this because we talk about having the processes, we talk about showing up, and I think sometimes when people hear these words and throw in the word schedule on top of it, they freak out. And then they're like, then I can't have a life. I have no freedom and I'm going to be controlled and I don't want to be controlled. Now, you do have a schedule.
I do.
And you also have a life.
I do.
How do you find the harmony between them all for those people out there that are afraid of being on a schedule?
Well, you have to learn, first of all, your boundaries. Okay. And you have to learn and say, okay, at this time tonight, I'm cutting it off. And I'm going to go out for dinner or I'm going to go to see a show or whatever. And if you have a client who wants to meet during that time, you say, well, I'm sorry, I have another appointment. Because I do. Maybe
with
it's
yourself.
Yes, maybe it's with my dog, but whatever it is, I have an appointment. You have to get enough confidence in yourself that you can learn to say that. You have to, again, come from that abundance, not scarcity, that just because they can't meet that night, they'll meet another night. And if they can't, maybe it wasn't worth it that you're with them. Right. But you have to learn to take care of yourself, and I've done that for years. And I enjoy that because the more I take care of myself, the better I can serve the client.
Yeah. So what are some things you do to take care of yourself?
Oh, well, I love spa time.
Yes, spa time is very good.
So spa time, massages, facials, I love that. I love walking, and I live in a neighborhood now that I have a beautiful lake to walk around, so I love to walk. I enjoy reading. I love to be with my new little dog, Shiloh, so I love spending time. I love time with my friends. Yeah. I love calling up a girlfriend and saying, let's go have a glass of wine, let's go out for dinner. Vacationing now with girlfriends, I love doing that. So I love to just get out and, but I also love quiet time. I really appreciate now, being able to be in my new home and enjoying my space and being comfortable in it is really kind of a treat.
That's great. So now, on the road to success, we also sometimes have to make trade-offs, because if we want to be successful over here, sometimes it means we can't do this stuff over here. So what have been some of the trade-offs that you've had to make in your life or your business to get to your level of success?
Trade-offs were big when I was first starting. And I think if I was to tell you that it's not, that wouldn't be accurate.
Right.
So when you're first starting, especially real estate or any business that you're first starting up, you're going to put excessive amount of time into it. You have to get those wheels moving and get that momentum to go down that runway. So you're going to probably give up always being able to go out with friends. There was numerous times my poor Richard I'd have dinner scheduled and we'd have to say, I'm going to be a half hour late, or I'm going to be an hour late. Or you're out with friends, but you're in the middle of a negotiation on a contract. Well, guess what? You're going to excuse yourself while they're having wine and go work on this contract when the calls come in.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to have to do. So if you're wanting to build a business and you're wanting to build a career, there is sacrifices. To me, they've all been worth it.
Right.
But you've got to then learn as you grow and as you build your business, that's when you start, claiming back your time, because you can.
Right. And I think that's the roadblock that people have, is they are so either afraid to give their all, or they do give their all, but they don't know how to call it back and reclaim it back. Because, you do have to remember, you're starting a business.
Right.
And if you were to go and open up a sandwich shop or something, I remember when my sister started her own candle company or candle store, it was 18-hour days, but that didn't last forever.
Correct.
And I think we have to remember these trade-offs don't have to be forever.
As long as you make that happen.
As long as you make that, which now leads me into my next one. How do you? Because that's, I think, when I talk with most women that I coach or when I'm speaking, the biggest challenge they have is in setting those boundaries, saying no, not just to their clients, but to their families, their significant others. So how do you set boundaries and communicate that so that you don't lose the clients and you maintain the respect?
So I think it starts gradually, because I don't think you go from 24/7 to this getting off 5 today and tomorrow and the next day. I don't think that happens, and I think you have to gradually build into it. Start with one day. That's what I did. I said, you know what? I'm going to take Sundays off because I need time to shave my legs and cut my toenails. So I'm going to do that. So
we all need to do those things. Yeah, so the spa doesn't like to do those for us.
No. So I'm going to take Sundays off, okay? And that's what I started with. Now, did I get every Sunday off right at first? No, because I wasn't conditioned to that. But start small. Start with one night a week saying, this is my date night. Or this is my spa time.
Right.
But start small and then build. If you don't, and we've all been there, you work, and you are just starting to feel drained. Then you're not giving the service to your clients that you need to be giving. You're not giving the service to yourself, and it just doesn't go the right way. So when you learn to start taking time for yourself, everything else will just blossom.
Right. And I think when you have that mindset of abundance and you work with the right people and you communicate how things are going to work, the right people come to you. Now, were there any fears maybe that you had early on in your career? Because you mentioned, you have to have the confidence. So what are some fears that you've been able to get over?
Making money.
Oh, tell us about that.
Oh, my goodness sake. So I went into real estate in 1988, eons ago, right? Only because I was fired from a top producing realtor. I would never have quit a salary paid job to go into sales.
Okay.
And thank goodness, Bob, that you fired me. So when he fired me, I had so much money in the bank and I was single. And I thought, well, I've always wanted to try this game of real estate. So I thought, let's try it, because you got this much money. When you're at the end, if you're not making anything, then you have to go get a job, right? So I learned how to go to dinner with friends and ask them for their leftovers. I learned how you could buy macaroni and milk with a credit card at the gas station back then. And my dog and my horse and my cat all ate very well, but I became very slim. It was great.
Yep. Exactly. Got to look for the bright spots.
So my biggest fear back then was making it. I had affirmations all over my house. I had on my mirror in my bathroom, wrote in lipstick that, Tami Tamis at the time, Rookie of the Year. And I had it wrote on the mirror. I had affirmations on my fireplace. I had it everywhere. And, the interesting part was I just kept telling myself, you can do this, you can do this. But it was scary.
That fear of success can really hold us back, and the scarcity around, money can do that. So, well, clearly you've been able to get over that. So, and we're happy that you have been able to do that. So when you are looking back on everything, being a woman in business, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that we face as women in business?
See, I get asked that a lot, and I don't see any challenge in real estate with being a female. I know that a lot of different corporation jobs and things, that there's challenges with that. I've never had a problem with that. I have succeeded over men for years. And I don't mean that meanly. I mean that, in real estate, the world's your oyster, and what do you want to achieve, and what do you want to accomplish, and you can't.
Right.
And that to me is the coolest part. No one has, this hold me down. My box, my lid's always open. And so I don't have that challenge. I never have, Clara.
That's good.
And it's hard for me when I'm talking to friends or to clients that are experiencing that in their workplace. And I always just smile and say, come into sales. Just come into sales.
Right. But I think it also goes back to that abundance mindset.
Right.
Of saying, you know what, there could be challenges. And I think when you have that confidence in yourself and that driver personality where you're like, I'm going to get this done, you're able to overcome some of those.
Right.
Now, on the flip side, do you think as a woman in business, you have anything that gives the upper hand to being a male?
Absolutely.
So tell us about that.
Well, I think, again, in my career, it's a very emotional thing to buy a home unless you're doing investments. And sometimes if it's your first home, this is a huge investment. If you're buying it because your family's growing or your family's, left, or if you're dealing with people with their parents have passed away, it's emotional. And I just truly feel that women and their feelings can just hold those people better and comfort them better than men can sometimes. Yeah. So I feel that honestly we have that nurturing that we can do that gives us a little upper hand.
I love it. It's great. So if you're reflecting on your life, not living in a world of regrets, but if you could go back in time, is there anything that you would have approached differently?
I've always said that I've always lived a life of no regrets. And when even Richard's accident happened, I actually was on the speaking trail, and I actually made a whole hour presentation on that, to live your life with no regrets, because the day he went in his coma, we had no regrets with our relationship. So I look back on my whole career, and I have no regrets. It's a matter of what would I have done different. I probably would have got more help earlier. Okay, as far as my own assistance. I probably would have learned to interview better.
That's a hard one.
For assistance. You've been down that road with me. So those are probably some things I would change, or that I am changing, so to speak. But I have no regrets, Clara, and I'm really happy to tell you that.
I think that's wonderful.
I've lived a very, very good life, and I'm looking to live a good life going forward too.
I love that. Yeah. So going back a moment to what you said about you would have asked for help and maybe delegated in your business. That's another hard one for women in business to have. So tell me a little bit about how you came to understand that you needed help, how you started, and maybe got over some of the fears there.
Well, the biggest thing, I was an assistant before I became a realtor, so I knew what they could do for me. The biggest fear to begin with was the money.
Yeah.
How can I pay somebody? How can I hire somebody, although I can't keep working 24/7? So I started off really slow. I actually went to the high school, and was it DECA? I think it was called.
Right.
And I actually got a high school, young lady who came and did part-time work for me, very minimal wage, very, few hours. And I could see what that was doing. I thought, oh, she could do this, she could do that. And then I just kept doing that. And I realized very quickly that my dollar per hour was a lot more than her dollar per hour if I was doing the right tasks. So.
And you have to think of it that way. Again, you have to think of running your business as a CEO and looking at the opportunity cost. And I love that you went to a situation and looking at a program like DECA, which I know still does exist in some of the school districts. So I think, that's one of the things I try to do too, is you don't have to spend a lot of money. Right. There are people who are looking for these. So you have to look for these opportunities, but there are many opportunities out there. But I think, again, you have to take the leap and find a way to make it work to get you to the next level.
Yes.
So what would you say you are most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Wow, that's a great question. I think I'm most proud of what I've done with my life and where I'm at financially. I grew up in a very poor family. And my daddy was a truck driver, and we lived on food stamps and welfare. And I remember those days going to the grocery store and Mama being so embarrassed. I remember at age 12, I started my first job cleaning hotel rooms and toilets because I wanted to buy clothing that Mom and Dad couldn't afford. And I told myself from that very young age that I would never live like that. I didn't know what that meant or what that looked like. But I'm very proud to be able to say that today that I'm very giving. I work a lot with the community. I donate a lot, and I give back. So I think I'm very proud that I've achieved what I have.
Yeah. You should be, because You've done a lot, and you really have. And talk about giving. You are very giving, and I've just seen that firsthand on so many different levels. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So talk to us about what's next for you when you look into the future, whether it's this year or down the road. What's next for Tami?
You know, it's interesting because I just had a big birthday, and it kind of makes me nervous when people say, well, when are you retiring? And I'm thinking, do I look that old? And I smile and say, you know, I love what I do. So for me to say I'm going to retire tomorrow, why? I love what I do. I see myself not working quite as hard, Clara. You know, I've put in the hours, I've put in the years, I've been at the top of the company for many, many years, and I really want to. I want to find companionship again. I really do, and I'm hoping that can exist out there somewhere. It's a unique opportunity that we're in this single life. There's a lot of frogs.
There are.
But you know, I definitely want to find companionship. I want to travel. We used to travel a lot, and I miss that. So I want to continue on with my real estate, but just kind of slow it down. I really want to find a younger partner to come on. It would be a shame to walk away from what I've built.
Yes.
Would be a shame. So I would love to find someone to come on, kind of reap the benefits of what I've built, and find a companion and enjoy life and just be happy.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So in closing, any last messages or words for our viewers?
Well, first of all, if you haven't coached with Clara or spent time with her, you need to, because you're fabulous.
Thank you.
And I think that, you know, as you watch these series and you listen to these women, you know, we're pretty amazing.
We are.
And resilient. And I just say, especially to if young women are out there just getting started with their careers, don't give up. You know, and know what you want and go for it. And don't let anyone tell you can't do it. And for those of you who have made it and you succeed, now enjoy that. And that's where I want to be right now. You know, I've worked hard. Now I want to enjoy that.
And I want that for you too, because you always have enjoyed it. I mean, you always have really, you do love what you do. But it's fun to be able to go out there and reap the benefits and live. So good. Now, as our viewers are watching this, some of them are going to want to connect with you. How can our viewers find you?
Oh, that'd be fun. So you can go to my website, which is www.talktotami.com. Email is tspaulding, so TSPAULDING @thegroupinc.com.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah. Well, Tami, I'm honored that you took the time to come and talk with us and share your story with our viewers. I know it's going to really connect with a lot of them and so many great nuggets in there. I just wanted to thank you from me for being such an amazing friend, mentor, and just guiding light. Even though we don't talk every day, you really have made an impact on my life, and you help me become stronger. You help push me when I need to be pushed. You are always very open and honest, and I just adore you and everything about you. And I just want nothing but happiness for you. So thank you so
Claire.
much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.